The utterly odious Liz Cheney and her fellow ilk on the J6 committee are humiliating themselves one last time. We're going to take a look at what the committee is recommending to the Justice Department. We're going to see what's really behind those recommendations. And make sure to stick with me at the very end of this video when I'll reveal what comes next. You're not going to want to miss this. Liz Cheney, the single most detested Republican on the planet, who recently lost her primary by more than any other Republican seeking re-election, is leaving D.C. with one final humiliation. The J6 committee is meeting today, December 19th, to officially jump the shark, as townhall.com put it. They're formally sending criminal referrals targeting Donald Trump to the Department of Justice. The committee has decided to charge Trump with insurrection, obstruction of an official proceeding, and conspiracy to defraud the United States. And forget the fact that in making these criminal referrals, the committee is actively contesting the conclusions of other investigative bodies such as the FBI and the U.S. Senate. A thorough FBI investigation already concluded that there was simply no evidence whatsoever that the riot on January 6th was the result of an organized plot to overturn a presidential election. This is the exact conclusion of the U.S. Senate during President Trump's second sham impeachment. There was no insurrection. There was no coup, and these left-wing activists disguised as committee members know it. Every member of the lamestream media knows it, but of course that doesn't matter. It would only matter if our nation was run by the rule of law. It is not. It is run now by weaponized legalism. That's the technical term for the politicalization of the law. Weaponized legalism, a weaponized legalist regime, which is what we live in now, thanks to the Democrats, to the shameless rhinos, and to the legacy media. A weaponized legal regime uses the law for three purposes. One, to deliberately undermine their political opponents. Two, to strengthen their own power. And three, to threaten and intimidate anyone else thinking of getting in their way. Those are the three main objectives for the weaponization of the law, and that's precisely what the ruling class in Washington, D.C. has become. They've become a weaponized legal regime that uses the law as a political weapon. This is exactly what we saw with the Justice Department. Remember all those months back, launching all-out investigations back with parents who oppose critical race theory being taught in their schools, and they showed up at the school boards to tell their school boards precisely that. And the DOJ actually invoked the Patriot Act in order to render these parents, in effect, domestic terrorists. This is weaponized legalism. It's cartel politics, the politics of a cartelized system, and nothing exemplifies that more, and frankly, more embarrassingly, than Liz Cheney and the J6 committee. This conclusion to formally recommend criminal charges against Donald Trump was never in doubt. This was a pathetic, pandering, partisan witch hunt from the very beginning. Even Liz's dad, Darth Vader himself, who actually used to be the face of the Republican Party along with George W., even he got into the act when they thought it would be a good idea to run this political ad just before Liz was trounced in her primaries.
In our nation's 246-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump. He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters had rejected him. He is a coward. A real man wouldn't lie to his supporters. He lost his election, and he lost big. I know it, he knows it, and deep down, I think most Republicans know it. Lynn and I are so proud of Liz for standing up for the truth, doing what's right, honoring her oath to the Constitution, when so many in our party are too scared to do so. Liz is fearless. She never backs down from a fight. There is nothing more important she will ever do than lead the effort to make sure Donald Trump is never again near the Oval Office. And she will succeed. I am Dick Cheney. I proudly voted for my daughter. I hope you will too.
I'm Liz Cheney, and I approve this message.
So there you go. Darth himself spilled the beans there. The whole point of this J6 Kangaroo committee was not investigative. It was not getting to the bottom of things. It wasn't to clarify. It wasn't standing up for truth. It was all about making sure that Donald Trump is never again near the Oval Office. Now, forgive me. I may be a bit naive here. Please forgive me. But I thought that as a committee whose formal title was the Select Committee to Investigate the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol, I thought the purpose of that committee was supposed to be in discerning the facts behind the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, not making sure that Donald Trump never gets near the Oval Office again. So this is all a bunch of phony baloney from the very beginning. This was not a disinterested, objective, fair, impartial committee. In fact, it was the exact opposite. It was a committee that had already arrived at its verdict from the very beginning. Every single member on that committee had to be pro-impeachment. So what's going to happen? Where do we go from here? Well, we're going to answer that question. But first, gang, it's Christmas time, and we're not going to let the Liz Cheney Grinch steal the joy of our Christmas. And what could possibly make a better gift for your loved ones than a warm, soft, comfortable MyPillow product from the one and only Mike Lindell? And you don't even have to tell them that because you use special code Turley, you saved almost 70% on that pillow. In fact, promo code Turley will get you the same discount on all of Mike's nearly 200 MyPillow products. For example, if you get the classic MyPillow, which is normally $69.98, and you use promo code Turley, Christmas magic happens. That $69.98 turns into just $19.98, and that applies to over 200 products in their catalog. So don't wait. Click on that link below. Give the gift of comfort and warmth to your loved ones. I just got some wonderful slippers from my wife. She's going to love them, and you can too. Make sure you click on that link below. Get nearly 70% off using promo code Turley, and let's make this a wonderful Christmas. Here's the king of corruption himself, Adam Schiff, the very one who pushed the Russian collusion hoax knowingly, as well as the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop as Russian disinformation knowingly. Here's what he said we can expect to come out of all of this.
I think that the evidence is there that Donald Trump committed criminal offenses in connection with his efforts to overturn the election. And viewing it as a former prosecutor, I think there's sufficient evidence to charge the president.
To get a conviction now?
Well, I don't know what the Justice Department has. I do know what's in the public record. The evidence seems pretty plain to me, but I would want to see the full body of evidence if I were in the prosecutor's shoes to make a decision. But, this is someone who, in multiple ways, tried to pressure state officials to find votes that didn't exist. This is someone who tried to interfere with a joint session, even inciting a mob to attack the Capitol. If that's not criminal, then I don't know what is.
So as you can see there, there's not that much confidence that the DOJ is going to indict Trump. We'll have to see. I got to say this is so entertaining. And I mean, actually kabuki theater-like entertainment, watching the legacy media treat that lying criminal as if he's the paragon of virtue. You know, as we've seen with the Twitter files, the legacy media is every bit wrapped up in this weaponized legalist regime, this cartelized system, as is the serial liar Adam Schiff. What happens? I think it's essential that we have to remember that no matter what this cartelized system does to Trump, it's not going to stop him from running for president. These are antics, and in the end, that really is all they are. My dear namesake, Jonathan Turley, has written about this right after the Mar-a-Lago raid. In fact, a number of constitutional scholars have written on irrevocably constitutional standards for presidential candidate qualifications. And interestingly, ironically, these conclusions were reached back in 2016 when a number of Republicans were arguing that Hillary Clinton was going to get booted off the ballot were she to be indicted for having classified material on her personal email server. So back in 2015, 2016, Republicans were salivating over the prospects that an indictment or even a conviction could disqualify Hillary from being able to run for the presidency. But constitutional scholars such as Seth Barrett Tillman showed that there's ample judicial precedent that completely undermines those assertions. The U.S. Constitution provides for the qualifications for running for president. No codes, no states, not even Congress itself can legally add to those qualifications without passing some kind of constitutional amendment. And as things stand, indictment or even conviction is not a constitutional disqualification. So obviously we'll keep a close eye on how things develop here, but I don't see anything other than more and more annex coming out of the duopolistic uniparty made up of both Democrats and shameless, gutless rhino Republicans. But in the end, all to no avail. The Trump train continues to move full speed ahead, and it looks like there's very little the dolts in D.C. can do about it. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on Putin's bombshell move on what to expect next in Ukraine. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.